Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a podcast by Practical E-Commerce.
What is going on, Internet? Eric Banholtz here, back again with another building an e-commerce business for Practical E-Commerce. Man, I am super excited here. I've got the founder of Smartish here, Matt, and he's a local Austinite, and he's been building phone cases, smartphone cases since 2009. That would make him like one of the OGs in the space. And he's brought some products here. He's shown them to me. But we're going to talk a little bit about his story, how he's been able to grow his business in a very competitive marketplace. Yeah? So,
absolutely.
What did I miss, man? Why don't you give me a little bit of your pitch?
Thanks for having me, Eric. Yeah, did start this company in 2009. We just celebrated our 11-year anniversary. It's fun to keep track of that over time and think how long it's been. Been doing the same thing for so long, but fortunately, I still love it. And the industry changes a lot over the time, so it keeps me interested. But yeah, we're based here in Austin and sell a lot of product on Amazon, some on a direct-to-consumer, all online. We don't have anything in brick and mortar intentionally, keeping our business model somewhat simplified for sanity's sake. There may be some limitations to that because we don't have as much exposure through brick and mortar retail, but also my life is happy and good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Every single channel you go after is like a different business model, and
Yeah.
it's like a new series of headaches. So,
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, you always think you can conquer everything, but
An early stage entrepreneur.
yeah,
Yes.
and then you kind of realize that it just spreads you too thin. Now, is it just you? Do you have any business partners?
So I have
investors?
100% control and interest of the company, and we have a good team here in Austin, 14 people. I have a couple of people that serve as executives that really run some of the operational side and run the sales and marketing side. But I'm at the top just to kind of oversee the ship.
Yeah. I would imagine that's pretty tough, man. Like, how do you get, do you have those outlets?
You know, it's interesting. The first few years, we started off, there was some co-founders that eventually either died off or I bought out. And they were
literally died
no,
off?
well, yeah, literally. But yeah, but it happens.
Man.
Yes.
That's pretty stressful.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I didn't mean to say it that way. And then some that I bought out a while ago. But through all of it, I've been in charge of everything. But certainly is been sometimes lonely, I would say, or feeling isolated, and that you're like, all right, who do you lean to? Who do you look to for advice? And I would say, somewhat to a fault, I worked on my own for a long time.
Yeah.
So whoever's listening to this is already doing better than what I did, is you get looking for outlets for connecting with people in the community and understanding more about entrepreneurship from the early stages. And I didn't do that as much from the beginning. And about 5 years ago, I was involved in a accelerator called SKU, or it was called Incubation Station a long time ago. And that's a consumer product, packaged goods accelerator here in Austin.
Okay.
Now they're starting to open some branches around the U.S. But I joined that specifically to get involved with more like-minded people in our community. And it helped a lot. And it helped me open my eyes to some mistakes I was making, or as I was down in the trenches just working, and it helped me take a step back and get some mentor advice of some things that I should be doing and changing.
Yeah. Now, is that SKU or?
SKU. It's
Okay.
called SKU, and the website sku.is.
Okay.
Yeah. And for any consumer packaged goods company, specifically in Austin, it's already has a market validated product. They're a good accelerator to join in on. You determine to giving them a particular amount of equity for an accelerator program. They give you access to mentors and some better access to capital, or at least introductions to people who could make you introductions to capital.
Okay. Did you have to give up equity for that then?
Some equity, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Small stake in your business.
Yeah,
then.
small stake in the business that, in the grand scheme of things is worth it. Again,
Yeah.
for helping me out in the right direction. And getting me the sanity of having other people to talk to as well, just getting me ingrained. It was kind of a shot shot of steroids in the arm of all the things that I needed, from peers to mentors to better advice.
Yeah. I would say, like me personally, that was the biggest thing that held me back from success for so long, was just not having the business partners to like kind of lift me up when I'm down, and to kind of help them up when they're down, and
Certainly.
get different perspectives on what you're doing. You know, employees are never going to really understand growing a business like you do. Like it's as an entrepreneur, a business owner, is 24/7. Like you just don't turn it off. And I would imagine like 11 years in, maybe that's changed a little bit or a little more mellowed out.
Yeah, I think it does. I think you come to terms with a lot of things, things that you stressed about in the first even 5-6 years. Over time, you realize you've gotten through this, something worse than this before. And, no matter how bad it looks, you'll get through this as well. The economy takes a dump and you're locked in your house. You don't know what's going to happen. You can turn that back around. Or some crazy tax thing is coming that you didn't realize. For me in particular, it was collecting state sales tax was one of those things that happened maybe a couple years ago. The whole time I was thinking, I'll figure out this state sales tax thing down the road, not realizing I was incurring liability for that state sales tax that I was supposed to be collecting. And it all kind of came to realization maybe 2 years ago, and I'm realizing how much money I'm owing these states to kind of correct it. And at first it seems, I think if I had encountered that in my first 5 years, I would have been really stressed. But being, 8 years into it, I realized we've gotten through things before, and I'll get through this. And I did, It's only a matter of a certain amount of money you're going to have to pay and get through it and figure it out, and you can keep on going.
Yeah, another problem to solve. I mean,
another problem to solve.
That's all entrepreneurship
yes,
is.
It is. It's just continuously solving one problem after the next, and you got to be ready for it. And you got to be the type of person that loves that, because once you're quote unquote successful, the problems don't stop coming. It's just new problems,
bigger problems. And now, speaking of problems, let's kind of talk about your distribution strategy. You said you're primarily on Amazon. When did you get on the platform, and how did you kind of grow there, and how do you see the future of your business on that platform?
So I've been selling on Amazon since before I started this company. With my last company that I helped a friend start called V-Moda, which is a high-end headphone company, and we were selling there on Amazon as well. So I've been selling on Amazon for about 13 or 14 years. Which is longer than most of the Amazon experts out there, so-called. I've seen it go through a lot of different generations of how Amazon works. And because of that 14 years of experience, I'm able to maneuver and navigate the marketplace pretty well. But again, like we just talked about, there's a new challenge every day. Some things you see Amazon, it's going to happen, and some things you just get completely blindsided no matter how well you think you know the market. But again, it's just about reacting.
Yeah. I would imagine that brings a little bit of security, just kind of knowing the ins and outs of it. We don't sell anything on Amazon, so we're completely off the platform. And I always just get afraid the fact they could snap your fingers and all of a sudden, essentially 100% of your sales are gone.
It could, yeah. We certainly had probably the biggest scare ever on Amazon is, a couple months ago, our products were deprioritized from fulfillment centers and got pushed out to have a 1-month delivery window on both the vendor side and the seller side, the 1P or 3P as they call it. And, there was 1 week where everything was shut down until I was able to navigate and get our things set up in a particular way that we were able to fulfill orders and pull things back in. And it's certainly something a risk that I'm trying to dilute by growing our direct-to-consumer market, which we're doing a pretty good job at. But certainly a large percentage of our sales is still on Amazon because people just love buying products on Amazon.
Right.
The other thing is on the flip side is it's you guys are in a position where you're not on Amazon. What's going to happen someday is somebody's going to take your product and probably try to start selling it on Amazon. So it's interesting because people may take it and say, hey, I'm going to buy it from your website, and I'm going to sell it for double the price on Amazon, and somebody's going to buy it, and it's an interesting thing that you may have to someday get control of your brand on Amazon, even if you don't want to sell there, because some reseller may get a hold of your product and sell it for way over MSRP.
Oh yeah. We know all about that.
Yeah.
We've done our if they use our photography, we do our takedowns on the brand registry.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so you have to still like so that's what's interesting. Like you don't sell on Amazon, but still you have to manage it.
Which reminds me, I should probably head back and keep an eye on it and see what's popped up on there.
Yeah.
Now, I think you guys, what you do is completely different than when I think of like most primarily Amazon-focused companies. It seems like you guys have built a brand, right? Your product offering, they all make sense. They all work together. They're not just this smattering of random products where you looked at Jungle Scout and found the opportunity. Talk about the strategy behind that and has that parlayed into being able to launch new products and get traction immediately.
Yeah, my idea has always been to have a brand, a cohesive brand that makes sense, that people like, engage, and will continue to buy products because it's that brand, as opposed to the flip side of Amazon business is just finding an opportunity in a particular product and just cranking it out for $1 cheaper or something like that. And that's not as fun to me. I really enjoy innovating products. I really enjoy creating a brand that people love because the products do what they're supposed to do really well. And in order to have a successful brand, I think you got to have to stay in your lane to a certain degree and expand in a controlled way. And so that's why Smartish is in phone cases and stuff. And we don't make desk mats or pens or who knows what, or echinacea pills or something like that, right? Or whatever it is these days. Right,
CBD oil.
CBD oil, yes, CBD oil. That's the thing. That's a business model, right? And it works. And obviously, Jungle Scout, it would not be as successful as it was if there weren't so many sellers that run that way. Because the sellers are using Jungle Scout to run their business in that way, and it's financially feasible for most people. More and more difficult every day. But that's not what I enjoy. I really enjoy innovating, creating products that make people's lives just a little better. And seeing that used, and then people coming back. When I see my products, my phone cases in the wild, when at an airport, and I walk up to somebody and I see them and I ask them, "Hey, what do you think of that phone case?" And at first they're a little weirded out that I asked them about their phone case, and like, my phone case. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, this thing. I love this thing. And they turn around and sell me my phone case back to me before I tell them who I am. And it's like gives me goosebumps thinking like, wow, I have made this product. And this person's enjoying it so much that they're advocating it back to me.
Yeah.
If I were just turning around CBD oil, that's just like everybody else's CBD oil. It's not necessarily the same satisfaction that I've made the world that much of a better place.
Yeah. You get me goosebumps talking about it. That's like, I think that's an entrepreneur's like wet dream here. And it's just like someone loving their products.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about that. Like you're selling something that from an outsider's perspective, I would imagine is just highly commoditized. Like there's got to be thousands and thousands and thousands of case options out there. Like how do you compete? Like how do you do that? How do you?
Yeah. I mean, besides supplements, phone cases is probably the second most commoditized market on Amazon and most competitive because there's no barrier to entry for a Chinese factory to create an injection mold of a iPhone case and sell it directly on Amazon. And you'll look at the top 100, most of them are just Chinese sellers for selling it for $6 or cheaper, a lot cheaper than what I am. In order to compete these days, it's difficult. I mean, first off, you have to have a genuinely good product. And the more innovative it is, the better. So you can't just be a Me Too product. You need to be really thinking through the functionality, the style, and the colors, every little facet of it to make sure it's a really, really good product. Because if you get bad reviews, you're going to die. There's no way you can live on Amazon without a really, really good product. That's pretty much a given today. The other part is that you have to be using every one of Amazon's tools simultaneously to even think to be able to compete in a space like phone cases. Whereas Amazon advertising, it's coupons, it's deals of the day, lightning deals, bigger DSP campaigns, the vendor side, really big campaign launches, running ads from outside into Amazon, having a PR team getting write-ups and have those write-ups pushed to your site as well, using Vine, using early review. All those things have to be running simultaneously and really well in order to even think to start competing. And even that's not going to get you in the top 100. That's in cases because it's just so competitive. But fortunately, so many people buy phone cases that you can live outside of that and still have a pretty profitable business.
Yeah. How are you able to develop products that's innovative? You've talked about that.
Yeah.
What kind of things are you doing? Is it just simply the design, the layout?
A lot of it is finding a particular set of cases that do what they're supposed to do really well. We have our 2 wallet case styles that are patented and have a pretty good amount of protection on the way that we like utility patents and, of course, design patents, so that we can protect our little moat on those products. And then we have products that are seemingly simple that work really well, the right amount of grip, the right amount of touch. And this comes with focusing on phone cases for over 10 years, right? Just 10 years of iteration. And every year I'm forced to come up with a new design because there's a new iPhone every year, right? So I can't sit on my laurels and just write out one of my products. I have to every year come up with a whole new design. So every year, me and my development team thinks, all right, what can we do right now to make this next generation even better than the last? What was good? What was bad? What can we do better? And so it's just generation after generation of continuous improvement, little tweaks, just paying attention to the details. And most competitors or most factories just don't care. They're like, yeah, it's good enough.
Right.
It fits. Move, button push. They don't care about how hard it is to push the button, how easy it is to find push the button, what the exact amount of grip is, with the exact color is correct. And we look and focus on every little detail. I love the little details, getting in there. This is part of what I love, and those little details are what makes a really, really good case.
Yeah. Now, you're not manufacturing these here in Texas, right?
No, they're in China.
So that's got to be pretty challenging to manage that relationship with the factory, because while you care about it, those factories, I would imagine, don't care about it, right?
Yeah, so they can get lazy for sure. Then they'll be about as lazy as you let them be. And so we have a team in China full time.
Oh, you do?
Yes. Yeah. I have an expat who runs product development out there, and he has his team on our payroll full time that's out there almost every day working quality control, working with the factories, making sure shipping and everything's under control. And, having a physical presence there all the time helps keep them honest. They're great factories. But when I say keep them honest, it's like, if you're kind of being watched, you're going to work just a little bit harder to make sure it's good. If you never watched, for a little time, you let some things slip.
Right.
So it does take some oversight.
Yeah, I would imagine that's really like the big differentiator for a lot of companies trying to start sourcing products from China is, how are you going to be competitive? And simply buying something from China and putting it on Amazon is not giving you an advantage.
You can't do that anymore. Yeah, I used to be able to do that, and it's very difficult to do that anymore. Just, hey, I'm going to buy 1,000 of these widgets and put them onto Amazon. It's just, you can't do it anymore.
Well, I would imagine also having a physical presence there helps mitigate the risk of the factory just, selling their own, right?
Yeah. Well, the factory can still sell on their own, but they can't sell our design. So we use only our own design products, as opposed to an OEM product that we bought off the shelf.
But it wouldn't surprise me if there were Chinese companies who were selling designs they weren't supposed to be selling. Out the back door.
It happens. It does happen. And it comes down to what type of factory you're dealing with. And what's tough is when you're in the early stages of a business, you're on the smaller end and you have to deal with some smaller factories, which generally is less honest factories because they're smaller and they're scrappy and they're just going to do whatever they can. And bigger you get, you deal with bigger factories that understand the value of a long-term relationship with their partners and won't go sell it out the back door.
Yeah. From like a inventory and buying perspective, do you essentially do one lot for the whole phone, or is it going to be like quarterly buys and see the demand?
We run inventory forecasts almost weekly about what's happening. So when a new iPhone comes out, we base it on the last 4 or 5 generations of releases, how many phones are coming out, what are the features of that phone, and how well do we think it's going to sell. And then how well does this particular product line sell? How well does this color sell? And we try to map that back to related products. So we can say, all right, we're going to produce our first batch of products going to last us from September to December. And then by a couple months into it, we look to see if we were going to do another lot. Because we can't just do 1,000 at a time. We want to do big lots, 10,000, 20,000 at a time, because that's where you can get better cost savings, ship ocean containers worth over. So we forecast out 20 weeks or so ahead of time and try to ocean ship things out and keep things in stock. But fortunately, we have a lot of past data that we can use to project forward.
Are you able to get like pre-production iPhones to build your cases so they're available on launch day, or?
So yeah, everybody asks this question. It's a good question. How do you know how to design a new iPhone? because you have to start 6 months before the new iPhone. We have to be designing our product, and 4 months before the new iPhone, we have to go to tooling. 2.5 to 3 months before the iPhone's even announced, we have to go into production, and we're cranking out tens of thousands of units 2 months before the phone's even announced. And so you're thinking, well, how do you know you're doing the right design? Almost every case manufacturer is working off of leaked 3D models off the back channels of China. And whether maybe Apple allows this to happen and turns the other way, or maybe they don't like it and they just know they can't control it. But almost every single case manufacturer has to work off these kind of rumored designs, right? And that we get, and like, okay, I think this is correct. And this is probably 90% correct. Okay, maybe this is probably 97% correct. And then one day you have to decide, all right, we're going to lock in. We're pretty sure this is it. And we're going to hope that it's right.
Oh, man.
So,
I can't imagine.
So every year, all the way until release day, you don't know for sure if you have good product or you're about to have to dump $250,000 worth of inventory into trash.
Oh, man, that is
Yes.
that is tough. I always assumed that Apple had these relationships with case makers and sent them prototypes.
No, they don't. So only the top case manufacturers, so only like maybe 2 case manufacturers actually have official specs from Apple. But it actually can be somewhat of a disadvantage as well, because then you're in bed with them and Apple's controlling when you can produce your products. They say, all right, you can't even start your manufacturing until the day we tell you can start your manufacturing. And you can't even talk or speak the name of the new iPhone until after the announcement. Whereas everyone else is already putting all their listings up, getting inventory up, getting our 3D renders and everything kind of all up ahead of time at our own leisure. If you deal with the confidential Apple information, you are confined in some ways of when you can talk about it, when you can manufacture.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons.
Have you had to kind of, what is it called, bite and eat your load or whatever?
No, knock on wood.
Fall back on.
Fortunately, we've had accurate data.
Yeah. Are there like private communities that kind of get shared, or?
You know, within the manufacturing community of China, it's kind of a gentleman's agreement of many different factories and people, and whatever kind of rumors we all hear, it gets shared kind of left and right, because it's for the common good.
Yeah, I would imagine it's one of those things that is pretty challenging to break into, but like kind of once you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially 10 generations in, 10 years into making phone cases.
It's a very similar thing in a lot of different things. Like for me, I found one of the most amazing benefits was just becoming a successful entrepreneur and being able to connect with other business owners like you and like learn from you and kind of speak your language. And it's kind of the same thing as like if you're an employee at XYZ company right now and you want to hang out with, the founder of this cool brand, chances are they're going to be like, well, I've got plans today. But if you're the founder of a company doing that, they'll be like, yeah, man, let's go grab coffee.
That's true. That's an interesting analogy. And even if you're a 6-month-old startup and you're the founder, still it may be hard to break into, I just started this new company, I'm making pens. Can I talk to you? And you're like, okay, I like to help people out, but still, it's like, it's only a certain amount of charity time that I can give to giving advice to early stage, right?
I'm the same way too. Like if they've proven they put skin in the game,
Yes.
I'll help them all day. Like if they've made some orders, they've gotten some sales, things like that. I love helping out people.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about, you've got some really innovative product. You brought some products here into the Beard Brand office. Some of them have custom printing on it. Now is that handled through Amazon as well, or is that done on your own store?
So the custom printing's handled here in our Austin office, real time. And we have some prints that are pre-designed ahead of time, and we actually send in to FBA and shipped out. And we have some designs that people can pick on Amazon, and then we print and ship real time. And then we have the option of somebody uploading your own picture to our own website at smartest.com, and we print your personalized picture or design real time as you upload it. And you can put a picture of your dog, you could put a logo, you can do a whole design, you can layer it up as much as you want. It's a kind of little WYSIWYG designer, and then we print it and ship it out the next day.
That's pretty sweet. Is that a pretty competitive space as well, or are you getting any traction in that part of your business?
There's not as many competitors doing it. There's starting to be a little bit more. I'm seeing a few more in my specific phone case categories. There's a couple of them out there. There's one that does it really well, and some others that are just starting to kind of outsource it to print companies. And what we do different is we do it faster and at a little bit better quality, based on the print equipment that we use. A lot of them can take 3 weeks to turn around, and we're turning around in 1 day.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive. And I would assume there's like a WYSIWYG for the creators. You're not having to deal with people's files and sending proofs back.
No, yeah. Well, I picked a SaaS system, software as a service system, that once it comes into our back end, it's already set up and drops right into a printable file. So we don't have to mess with much. We do still every once in a while, someone will upload just a really low res image or just something that didn't work, and we'll have to tweak it. But most of the time, it just drops right in. It took me a long time to find a system and then modify it to make sure it worked just right for us.
Yeah. One other product I want to talk about is your Cord Wrangler. Is that the official name?
The Cable Wrangler.
The Cable Wrangler.
Yes.
It's this cool little, let's call it like paperweight, for lack of better terms, but it has a magnet in there and allows your cords to not fling around. When did you launch that product?
Cable Wrangler's been around for 2 years, but it was in development for probably 2 years before that. And it took an embarrassingly long time to just get the product that I wanted.
Every entrepreneur says that.
Yeah, maybe 3 years we were playing with this thing. And we went through probably 20 iterations of designs, and it changed drastically over the course of its life and development until it finally landed on this. And the idea of this product is you have a charging cable on your office desk or your nightstand. As soon as you unplug it, a lot of times it slides back behind your bed or under your desk. And what this has is just a sleek magnetic top. You just tap the lightning cable on the top, and it will hold it right there in place. And then when you're ready to use it again, just grab it. No straps or anything like that. And it's a sleek, unassuming design as well, where I kind of call it, spouse-approved type design, because the nightstand is somewhat of a sacred space in a lot of homes, right? Yeah, whatever's sitting on that nightstand a lot of thought has gone into that. Nothing else is allowed. And so some techie electronic usually is not sanctioned by your spouse. And so we want to design this to be sleek and clean.
Now, what's most interesting to me about this is you've been doing phone cases for, up to that point, I guess like 6 or 7 years. This is a similar product in a similar market, but it's completely different. When you launch this, walk me through kind of like that launch strategy, and have you been able to get traction with it, or is it still something that's kind of a slog and you're pushing hard to keep on moving it?
It's been slow and steadily increasing. And so we launched this, what I kind of call off cycle for us, and on cycle for us is new iPhone releases. And that's when everyone cares about iPhones, is during the iPhone release to Christmas. So half our sales of the year happen between mid-September and end of December. And the other 8.5 months, there's our other half of sales. So it's pretty slow, especially in the summer. People are on vacation. They're not thinking about buying their new phone unless they had to, and electronics as well. So we launched this off cycle just to get it out and slowly get it built up so that we could then already have a presence and push it during the iPhone launch. And it's an interesting product for us because, outside of our normal realm of phone cases, and also to get people to understand what the product is. It's a product that you don't know that you need it until you see it and understand it, and then you're like, I definitely need that. And so when we're trying to pitch it to the press or even get people to review it or anything like that, people don't really understand it. They're like, I don't know what it is, so I don't really want to mess with it. But as people have finally kind of bought onto it and used it, people really, really love it. And I think there's a lot of word of mouth sales that are happening because we're just seeing ourselves slowly, continue to grow on this product, and it's steady as well.
Yeah, a brand new product, brand new space. How do you feel confident with the right price? Or are you one of those guys that changes the price regularly to find the market?
Well, I research the competitors a lot. What are some of the products selling for? And of course, making sure we have the correct margin stack on it. I want to make sure it's still a profitable product for us so we can continue to sell it and have room for promotion as well. Then the final thing is really asking around about products pricing, about, I guess, trusted friend groups and advisors and talking about price points and showing them and getting a kind of a gut reaction from a few trusted people that are educated enough to know what kind of the industry, and then a few that are completely out and just say, have no idea what the industry is, and show them what it is and talk to them about the price. So that's how we went about approaching this price of this product.
Yeah.
And this one sells for $19.99.
Seems like a good spot for that, or kind of what I would expect.
Yeah.
Cool. What kind of mistakes have you made building your business? That
All of them. I've made all of the mistakes.
Well, which are the ones that you really wish you could take back?
There's been a few big ones. One is overbuilding on inventory at some points. It's particular launches, thinking, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go heavy on all the products that I think we're going to sell it and just go heavy. And we just overbuilt and ended up with a lot of dead inventory because at the same time that I overbuilt, I expanded my product line too wide. And this is my second mistake I made simultaneously, is not sticking to the core products that I know are going to do well, and just went real wide with products at a particular iPhone launch. And some of those products weren't as innovative as most of our products are. And because of that, they just kind of didn't get as much traction because they're not that innovative and not that unique. And there's a lot of other cases that look pretty similar to it. So not only are they not selling, but I overbuilt on them. So then I ended up in a real cash flow crunch for probably a year because of that.
How do you go ahead and liquidate dead inventory?
Some of it I'm still stuck with. Some of it I actually found liquidators that would take, and some of it I literally trashed. Yeah, I had to literally, pay to.
You could build like iPhone houses or something.
Installation. You know what? Some of it we actually donated to artists.
Yeah.
We gave maybe 1,000 cases to an artist, and this artist built some kind of big art piece, which is 1,000 different iPhone cases.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we're not doing anything with it, so you can have it.
Office decoration. So whenever I go into an office and I see like a bunch of product on the wall, I'll know this was the product.
You're not showing off product. We just didn't know what to do with it. Instead of this cool wooden wall that you have here in this podcast room, maybe we should have a phone case wall.
Sweet, man. Well, I've enjoyed our time. Where can people learn more about you or learn more about your products?
Yeah, you can find us at smartish.com or amazon.com/smartish.
Okay, and that's like smart and then ISH.
You got it.
Sweet, man. Well, thanks for coming by the office and sharing your story, and also sharing these awesome cases. So be sure to grab a case and check out these products, as well as that cable wrangler, man. I got my eyes on those. This has been another Building an E-Commerce Business. I'm your host, Eric Van Holst with Beard Brand. Cheers. Keep on growing.